recently I've seen basketball and specifically shooting compared to golf, darts, and archery in terms of the way that players should execute the skill and also how players should practice the skill. Uh, there are a bunch of problems with these analogies. Number one, golf, darts, and archery are all stationary activities. I'm not proficient at any of the three, but I do know that when you're, putting, or throwing a dart or archering, you're stationary. In basketball, movement is involved, so that's one big difference. Second, in basketball, there's defense. All right, when you're putting in golf, there's no defensive player there that you have to take into account. You putt. It's you in the hole, and you're putting the ball in the hole, and there's nothing in between. Darts, archery, same idea. Nobody's defending you as you're trying to execute the skill. And then the third part of it is along the same lines is in those three sports, your execution of the skill is self-paced. Whereas in basketball, you're influenced by the defense primarily, your speed of movement, oftentimes the game clock or a shot clock, and things of this nature. So you can't, with the exception of a free throw, you can't take all the time that you need to perform a skill. Your performance is externally paced as opposed to self-paced. But when you're putting, you can take as much time as you want to line up your putt and look at the grass and the lie and all these different things that a putter's going to look at. You can take your time. There's no rush, etc. So there are all obviously other differences, but these are three of the big ones. And so to compare basketball or shooting to these skills completely misses the point of comparisons within sports. I, of course, often use other sports to learn from, to steal from, to take from, specifically other invasion games, soccer, rugby. I've coached volleyball before. I'm a big tennis fan, so I will look at the way that players move in these sports and, some of the drills and the way that coaches will design a practice or design a drill from these sports. But I'm not going to base how I teach, shooting on how I would teach, serving in volleyball, because it's different. Both are essentially throwing motions or part of a throwing classification of skills. But again, in volleyball, there's no defense. The objective is different. Getting the ball over a net in volleyball versus shooting the ball 10 feet high to have it land inside of a ring in basketball present different impediments to success. They require different techniques, and it's just a different objective. So while I will learn from other sports, and by all means I'll take whatever I can from other sports, we have to be smart about how we're creating analogies and how we're trying to draw from other sports and what we're actually learning from these sports. Because to say that somebody practiced putting one way, so therefore we should practice shooting a basketball in the same way, ignores the complexity of basketball that just isn't present in golf. It doesn't mean that golf is an easier sport than basketball. It's a different sport. But the truth is that basketball is a more complex sport than golf because the defense is involved, because it's externally paced, and these things that aren't involved in golf and which make golf less complex. So you can't just take one idea from a sport that's completely different and say that it automatically transfers and it's automatically the way that we should do something in basketball. By all means, learn from other sports, but also be smart about how we're transferring ideas between sports and skills and skill groupings.